Breakthrough isn't just an idea or a creative ambition. It's an outcome. It's insights that are surfaced. It's problems that are solved. It's markets that are moved. It's brands that are repositioned to reach more patients that need it the most. This is an evolution to really address the problems that our pharma clients are experiencing every day.
Hello and welcome to the MM+M Agency 100 podcast, brought to you today by BGBx. I'm Bella Chakowski. I'm a reporter here at MM+M. And for today's conversation, we're talking about how BGBx is navigating today's commercial environment. And I'm pleased to be joined by David Coman, who's the CEO of BGBx. How's it going today, David?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Let me start off by asking, I understand you recently went through a rebrand from BGB Group to now BGBx. Why the change and how have the results been so far?
BGB Group has been around for 20 years. It started as a medical communications shop and evolved into a broader communications company. Well, we've made an immense amount of investment in our consulting side of the business, which includes a company called KX Advisors, which does strategic management consulting, and Hayden Group, which does market access consulting, and a group that we built organically called Innovation and Intelligence, which enables AI-based themed strategic consulting as well. And so we're no longer that company that people refer to as BGB Group. It's this broader solution that includes both consulting very early in the decision-making process to shape where a brand goes, all the way through the execution, the medical strategy, and then the creative and channel strategy in order to be able to bring that brand to life. And so, the X is about changing that perception of our company from just a communications provider to a full commercialization solutions partner. The X itself actually was put in place to symbolize this force multiplier, because if you look at each of the individual capability areas that we have, we think that we're second to none. But the X itself symbolizes a force multiplier for us. You take all of our capabilities across the suite of BGBx, and we really have something very special that we can provide to our clients.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about, in your opinion, where are brands or brand teams rather struggling the most today?
I think it starts with complexity. So they're navigating a market that is increasingly complex. Science is advancing quicker. Evidence expectations are higher. There's a lot more brand influencers, so people who are influencing the success of the brand. Leadership teams are under pressure to make better decisions earlier. So in that environment, clients really need three things. They need a commercialization partner that can provide them with new perspectives that help them see the world differently. They're looking for problem solving that can help navigate through that complexity, and they're looking for results. And so results that move the brands, they move the markets, and they move access to patients. And so that's really how we define BGBx, and internally we call it built for breakthrough, because we believe that breakthrough isn't just an idea or a creative ambition. It's an outcome. It's insights that are surfaced. It's problems that are solved. It's markets that are moved. It's brands that are repositioned to reach more patients that need it the most. And so this is an evolution to really address the problems that our pharma clients are experiencing every day.
And can you talk to me a little bit about 3D science? What is 3D science?
Yeah, so it kind of starts with the idea of built through breakthrough. And so, how are you going to create those breakthroughs? And sitting underneath that is a different way of thinking. So as I began, the heritage of this company is very science-based, but that basis has been extraordinarily medical focused. And we want and will continue to be the best in the business at that. But expanding the aperture a little bit more broadly, we have gone really deep into behavioral science, and we have a team of behavioral scientists here who think about what are the behavioral biases that affect physicians and patients and their decision-making every single day. And then if we understand what those biases then you can actually do something about them in an appropriate way. And so that's sort of the second dimension to science that we've added. Now, the third is about data science. And so this is about what are the market segments that we want to prioritize, and where are the best wedges for us to play to help get a brand not just off the starting block, but then continue to build over time. And so really understanding that broad context and then having the ability to identify what's actually moving the market is also important for everybody involved. And so when we think about 3D science, it's really the confluence of medical science, behavioral science, and data science all coming together as one to be able to deliver breakthrough results.
I think we'd be remiss not to talk about AI a little bit on this episode. It's obviously the front of everyone's mind, top of everyone's mind. I'm curious what role AI plays at BGBx, and how you see that sort of changing or progressing in the years to come.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it starts with a baseline. So every individual within BGBx gets training on how to use AI. And so it starts with the basics. So, a course that's a 101, how to do it. A course of, 201, which is how to apply it. Of course, 301 gets into how do you go beyond just using a GPT or a script. It's about creating custom GPTs and really turning our organization into a community of agent builders. And so that's a pretty massive transformation that we started that at the beginning, at the end of last year, and are continuing that forward. And just the proliferation of that is amazing across the organization. Now you take that sort of as a standardization on how people work, then you put on top of that what we're implementing is an orchestration layer, which helps us to ensure that we're building agents that talk to one another and can help us deliver tactical execution on a more turnkey basis. And then sitting on top of that is our product generation engine. We call that the innovation and intelligence. And that takes the core ideas of 3D science, behavioral science, data science, and medical science, and breaks it down into how people are thinking. So what people say, what they share, what we call it secret. So, what they're actually, maybe entering into search engine marketing, and couple that with what's actually being studied, which is publications data, and what's substantiated, which is claims data. And we pull that all together in a single LLM to be able to go deep into what's really happening in the marketplace, and with an individual, either prescriber or patient, to get to the base fundamentals. And we use that to then construct how to position your product today, but then also use additional tactics to think about what the market is moving to into the future. And so we call that FutureCast. So, going pretty deep into transforming not just the way we think every single day, but then how we actually predict market into the future, I think is, really where this all needs to go.
Absolutely. And so sort of switching gears a little bit, you've referenced BGBx's independence in the past. What does that mean, and how is that important to the ethos of the agency?
Yeah, I mean, we call it fiercely independent. And so, BGBx is not part of a large consultancy. It's not part of a, agency network. We are a standalone independent organization that doesn't have the same, internal complexities. It enables us to be a lot more nimble, fast, responsive to our clients. And ultimately, we think that helps us to deliver a better product.
And if I could ask you to look sort of into the future a little bit, I'm curious what you think will separate successful organizations from those that aren't successful or sort of trail off in the next, call it 5 years.
I think it's about external focus. It's about starting with the end in mind, which is the outcome that you're trying to create for your client. So that is a fundamental idea underneath Built for Breakthrough. every employee across this organization needs to be thinking about how we can actually make a fundamental change, whether that's solving a problem that is, facing them today, or providing a completely different perspective that our clients haven't thought of in the past, and truly generating results that move the needle for our clients. And so ultimately it comes down to that. It really comes down to, what are you actually doing in order to be able to impact your client's business, to accelerate the commercial success, and to get the right drugs into the patients who need it the most.
We talked about AI a second ago, and then I shifted to a more, meta perspective. But I'm hearing a lot of folks talk about how, just worldwide, but also like in this industry, the threat of AI taking jobs and whatnot. And obviously, this is deeply creative work. What I typically hear of agencies is that the use of AI is actually freeing up creatives to do creative work. It's enriching the work, not replacing it. What's sort of your take on that? And how have you seen that maybe play out at the agency?
Yeah, there's no question. It is a tool for us to supplement what we're currently doing. It's a starting point in terms of, how we might want to think and approach. And it's a partner that can help us in terms of making sure that we're executing on strategy and as efficiently as humanly possible. It does enable us to provide more options. It enables us to work faster and enables us to work smarter. And so ultimately what it's doing is creating quality and execution efficiencies that we couldn't do otherwise. So it's clearly something that's helping us provide better support for our clients and ultimately bring together breakthrough results.
It's crazy to think that even a year from now, I just asked you to predict 5 years, but even a year from now, we might be having totally different conversations around this. And it's already, the conversation has shifted so much from efficiencies to, what AI can do beyond just providing additional efficiencies. I saw a physical rendition of robot AI the other day that's meant to sit in front offices, and you can interact with it like a human. So that's crazy. There's I'm sure much to see and experience in the coming year, and hopefully we'll have a chance to have this conversation again next year. A question that I like to ask, just because this A100 is video game themed, is whether you're a gamer and if you have any favorite games.
I love video games, actually. And I have two sons. One's 25, the other is 21. And there's nothing better that I like to do on my free time to hang out with my boys and play a game together. And, right now, our current favorite is Dark Souls, The Witcher. There's a few other ones that we like to play together too as well, but it's, definitely embedded in the Coman family.
Yeah. I feel the same. It's a great pastime. All right, David, thank you so much. This has been a good conversation, and congrats again on making the A100 list, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me.